Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Darren James, channel that brings you your team every single day, guys. We are here. It is match day. It is Europa League match day. It's another Rangers Thursday night. Not in Ibrox, unfortunately. No, across in Piraeus in Athens. I think Piraeus is in Athens. It's somewhere in Greece. Anyway, obviously Rangers head over to take on Olympiacos at their formidable stadium in what is going to be a absolutely titanic clash and a mammoth task for Rangers to overcome a team that do very well at home and are not too bad in Europe at all, obviously having won the Conference League last season. Well, what we're going to do in this video, we're going to look obviously at Olympiacos, a little bit of a preview on them. We'll look at the last time the two clubs met. Yes, it was only a friendly, but I better say Olympiacos gave us a bit of a footballing lesson, didn't they? And look, I'm going to talk about team selection, talk about my team selection. I'm going to talk about what I think Philippe Clement was going to do. Yes, I'm going to try and be psychic. What was she called? Mystic Meg. And I'm trying to be Mystic Meg and predict Clement's team selection. I think it's probably easier than we think it could be. And I'm not going to look, I don't particularly want to talk about the news conference ad infinitum, okay? Because I'm a little bit bored of him now. I'm a little bit fed up of him. And I kind of don't really believe a word that comes out of his mouth anyway. He just trots out the same shit most press conferences anyway. So I'm going to pick out two quotes. I want to talk about those two quotes and what they might hold for Rangers going forward. Right, let's just talk this through, shall we? So let's have a look at the tail of the tape. Have a little look at Olympiacos. But let's have a little bit of tail of the tape, a comparison of the two sides. So look, this is from Transfer Market. It gives you your market value, your average market value, your average age, your national team players, your youth national team players, how many foreign players, etc., etc. It gives you a bit of a breakdown of that club thing. Right, let's have a little look, shall we? So total market value for the squad, for the two squads. Rangers, now look, let's not get into arguing about who's worth what. This is, working on basic market values. Okay, yes, some of the market values that Transfer Market may attribute to some of our players, maybe, shall we say, slightly overinflated. Some of them may be slightly underinflated. But we'll just run with it. So look, Olympiacos Piraeus have a market value of 105.65 million and Rangers have a market value of 80.75 million, which, look, considering, those two market values, it isn't, massively different, is it? It's about just over 20 million, 25 million pounds. It's not huge, is it? I mean, it certainly isn't going to be. It's not as ginormous as it will be against some teams. I mean, I'll give you, for instance, when we go up against Spurs in Europa League, their squad value is listed at 788.3 million. That's right, 788.3 million. So over 700 million pounds more than our market value. I mean, I think that just shows a division between the English League and most of the other leagues. If you take Manchester United, for example, when we come to face them, their market value is listed as 854.15 million, nearly over 10 times the value of the Rangers squad. So realistically, in European terms, 25 million is not a lot. Okay, so the average market value of players is 3.41 million for Olympiacos players, 2.69 million for Rangers players. Again, when that comes to comparing, the Premiership teams, even Nice to some extent, who we still have to play in Lyon, their average market value will be a lot higher. Our average age is lower than theirs. They are 26.1, we're 25.3. So our players on average are younger than theirs. National team players, fairly even, 11 and 10. Youth national team players, 13 and 9. 17 foreigners and 22 foreigners. So there's not a massive difference in terms of, some of those key components between the two clubs, is there? In terms of market value, in terms of number of players, average age, etc., etc. So, I mean, look, that's a positive. That gives you a bit of hope there, a little bit of hope. I mean, certainly this Olympiacos thing, when I had a look at it, it doesn't kind of fill you with as much dread as it may have done in the past. I mean, I remember Olympiacos having the likes of Rivaldo and Giovanni and some top, Brazilian talent. Yes, they've still got some very good footballers like El Kababi, who's their striker. I think that's what he's called. Look at that in a minute. Castilla, some others players, which we'll look at in a moment. But, look, they're not as formidable as they were in the past. Yes, Rangers are not in great form. And yes, a lot will depend on the team that Philippe Clement picks. Of course it will. So let's have a quick look at where Olympiacos sit in the Greek League. So the Greek League, they currently sit fourth behind Aris, Salonika, PAOK, AEK Athens, They're fourth. Asteras are in fifth, and Panathinaikos, who are one of the most famous names in Greek football, sits sixth. This season, Olympiacos have played 10 games in the Greek Super League. They've won 5 of them, they've drawn 3, and they've lost 2, and accrued 18 points. But the league's quite tight over there from the looks of things in Greece, isn't it? You know, there's not a lot of points between the top 6, really. I mean, even now, obviously down to what, 4? So top 4, it's only 3 points cover the top 4, so there's not a massive difference. Last time out when they took on Malmo in the Europa League. So they had Tassalakis in goal, Costinha, Retsos, Carmo, who is on loan, I think, from Forest, Ortega, Marzakis, Heze, Rodinai, Chiquinho, Martins, and El Kabai. El Kabai is their top scorer. He's one of their best players. He's Moroccan, a Moroccan international. And look, as we found, you know, obviously Hamza's a decent player, a decent enough player, but you know, as we've kind of found from you know recent tournaments, that these Moroccans that are coming through are certainly no mugs, are they? They're very talented footballers. So you know that's like I said, he is a very, very talented footballer. Chiquinho, he is 29 years old. He's Portuguese. He has played previously for Benfica and Braga. So he's played, you know, a number of games for top Portuguese sides. Their coach is actually Spanish, you know, in terms of where he comes from. Other players that kind of stand out to you there in that Olympiacos side, you've got Ortega there, who is an Argentinian. He's 25 years old. Never represented Argentina at full level, came from Vélez Sarsfield, but, you know, a pretty decent left back there for them. You know, other players they've got there, Stamanic, who's on the bench, he's on loan from Forest. The Ayoub Al-Kabai, he, like I said, he's 31 years old. He is Moroccan striker. He scored 23 times in 41 appearances. He's made 38 appearances for his national team. So, you know, he's certainly no mug. The Martins that's mentioned there is Gelson Martins, who is a Portuguese player, not an international, but still a Portuguese player. They've got Danny Garcia as well there. He's obviously coming off the bench. David Carmo is an Angolan who's on loan from Nottingham Forest. They have also got Willian on their squad as well, the former Arsenal and Chelsea Fulham player. He hasn't figured much this season. Costinha, their right back, is a 24-year-old Portuguese player. Never played for the Portuguese full team, but has represented them underage levels, came through the Rio Ave system before moving to Olympiacos. So, you know, they've got some reasonable players, but there's certainly no names that would be household and stand out and fill you full of fear, you know, going over those. So let's have a look now at their results. This is their last 5 games and their Europa League form. So their last 5 games that they've played. Levadikos, they drew 2-2 with them. They beat Malmo away 1-0. But, you know, as we saw ourselves, Malmo are not exactly the most scary team in the world, are they? They lost 1-0 to the team above them in the league, Asteras Tripolis. They beat Kalathea 1-0 and they beat Panathinaikos 2-1. That's not Panathinaikos, that's Panathinaikos. Both teams below them in the leagues. Their league form's not great coming into this. In terms of their Europa League record, they lost 2-0 on match day 1 to a very good Lyon side. So, you know, that's a team that we obviously got smashed by. They beat Braga 3-0 and they won 1-0 against Malmo. So their home form, they've won their only home game. They've only conceded 2 goals. Conceded for the last couple of games, 1-2 and on the bounce in the Europa League. So certainly showing some improvement. But, you know, look, Braga this season, no great shakes. Malmo this season, again, no great shakes. So, look, there's still reasons to be optimistic there, reasons to be cheerful if you want. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. But yeah, so that's the sort of tale of the tape. That's where they're coming from. The last time we met, who remembers this? Yes, at Ibrox, a friendly game back on the 26th of July under Michael Beale, nonetheless. A 3-1 defeat to Olympiacos when we were pretty comprehensively outplayed by the Greek side. A different Greek side at that point, a different side to what we face today. Look, yes, they have some decent players. Yes, they're worth a bit more than us. But look, as you've seen from those stats and those facts and the figures, there's no great massive difference between the two teams. Their recent form isn't too great. Yes, their form in the Europa League has been pretty decent for the last couple of games, but overall they're coming off, you know, 2 wins against poor teams. it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. You know, they will provide a test. I'm not going to come. I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to blow smoke up your asses and smoke up their asses and say that we're going to go there, beat them 5-0, and it's going to be an exhibition of free-flowing, attacking Rangers football by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. It's going to be tough. They will put us under the cosh. We've got to answer that. We've got to hold up, I think, the first 20, 25 minutes when they'll come at us. And the crowd will be electric. We've got to try and silence the crowd. That's an absolute must. Look, what's the team selection going to be? Let's have a look at that. So, look, I'll get to the 2 quotes that I want to discuss from the Clement press conference shortly. But, you know, what is the team selection going to be? How is he going to line up? Now, look, this is how I would line up and how I think Philippe Clement is going to line up. As you can see, there is a difference, a couple of 3 differences in these teams. So, my team is Jack Butland in goal. Gotta be Jack Butland in goal. Dujon Sterling at right back for me. I just think James Tavernier cannot play. He cannot play in this game. He will get ripped to pieces in this game. So for me, Dujon Sterling, who did well when he came on against Motherwell in the semi-final. So for me, you know, Dujon's got to come in at right back. Suter and Balogun, I think, have proven themselves to be the best 2 defenders we've got at the moment. Perfect? No. The best? Probably not, but better than what we've got. And Proper's a bomb scare. Casemiro, I suppose, is a possibility. There, he could come in and play alongside John Suter, but I just love Big Leon. You know I'm a Big Leon fan. Kiefte at left back, because Ridvan's still not fully fit. Cass can play left back, but I just think having a left footer with pace on the left side brings something extra. Barron and Raskan in front of the defence, they've been fantastic. They've been the 2 that have kind of come through all this mediocrity and just poorness, and have been 2 guiding lights, shining lights in the last couple of games. So for me, Raskin and Barron definitely start. I want to see Bayrami in the 10 role. I want to see him doing those things that threaten Motherwell. You know, the goal that he scored, the chances he created, the way he played. For me, get him in that 10 role. Let him play his natural position. In that case, I'm going to put Zach Lovelace on the left where he can play. I know Lovelace is more traditionally a striker, but he can play left side. So get him on the left side. That's what I want to see. Cheney on the right, who seems to have come into his own. And I see Hamza up top. I'm just done with Dessers. The guy cannot hold the ball up, and we need someone to hold the ball up, because if we're going to get out against this very good Olympiacos team, we need someone to hold the ball up. And Dessers can't trap a bag of cement. The guy is an absolute joke of a footballer. I'm done with Dessers. We never need to see that man in a Rangers shirt ever again, in my opinion. But we will. Now, the manager's team differs somewhat from mine. I think he'll start Tavernier. I think he'll put Diamande in the 10 role, Bayrami out wide left, and I think he'll start Dessers, because I think he's stubborn. I think he hasn't learnt. I think it's a big test. I mean, ideally, you'd want Danilo there, but you know, Danilo isn't in the in the Europa squad. Neither's Hadji. So look, we can't play those 2. But look, for me, the manager needs to show that he's actually learnt something. That the team that finished the last 23 minutes, or however long it was with the stoppage time, against Motherwell on Sunday, without Dessers and without Tavernier, just looked so much better. I'm not saying it looked perfect. I'm not saying it looked world-beating, but I'm saying it looked better. And I know that's not hard. I know it's not hard from that first half, but look, for me, if he puts Tav and Ted Dessers in the starting 11 again tomorrow, that's just showing 2 things for me. 1, he's stubborn. 2, he's tactically illiterate, and he just doesn't see the game for what it is and how the game improves when you haven't got a right back who is about as much use as a chocolate fire guard, and a striker who is about as much use as a one-legged asthmatic donkey. So look, for me, you've got to show changes there. Look, I know Hamza's a kid, but he's going to learn more and do more in this game than Dessers is, and he's going to get better from this game. He's going to get experience from this game. Dessers isn't. Dessers is not. And not realistically, we're not going to win the Europa League. We're not really going to win anything this season. But you know, for me, get Hamza experience, get him to play better in these games. Then he'll become better in the league, where we actually think he can actually have a properly good impact. Dessers, to me, you start him, you're just giving up. You are playing with 10 men. You start Tav as well, you're playing with 9 men. So don't start either of them. He will start both of them. I'm pretty 99% sure that he is going to start Tavernier and he is going to start Dessers, because he's stubborn and he's tactically illiterate. But, you know, that's my thoughts. I mean, you may have different thoughts, and I'm sure there's still those people who will stand there and defend Cyril Dessers. I don't know why. Yes, he has scored goals, but against shit teams. He's a flat track bully. That's what Dessers is. That's plain and simple what he is. The guy is second rate in terms of his striking abilities. He misses open goals. He can't track. He can't stay on side. His movement is poor. He doesn't move players out of the way for the runners from midfield. Hence why the midfielders don't run past him. He doesn't hold the ball up to help us get out. There's so many tactical and footballing reasons why he should not play for this team. That's my thoughts on the situation. Right, let's look at these two quotes I want to discuss from the Clermont press conference. This is quote one. Dujon needs to prove himself in the next weeks. He has been struggling with a bit of an injury, so he maybe didn't hit the same levels as last season, but he is coming back from that. So we know that Dujon perhaps hasn't started a number of games, or hasn't been given a fair crack at it because of this injury. Now, look, we look at this, and we just think, does this say that basically he ain't going to start Dujon ever? Well, not in the next few weeks, and he's going to go with Tav every time, even though it's just an absolutely ridiculous decision, because James Tavernier, like I said, is about as much use as a chocolate fireguard. The guy is just useless. Or is it saying that he is going to get a chance to prove himself, and he's going to give him a chance to get out there and play and actually prove himself? Now, that would be the clever thing to do, to actually give Sterling the start, let Sterling go and show us what we all know about him, that he is a quality footballer. That's from what I would do. It's just a very interesting quote. It is a real concern for me that he's going to stick by Captain Loser, and we're going to end up, struggling because of that. The second quote is this one here. Tom Lawrence hasn't travelled. He got injured at the weekend and will be out for several weeks. He's been important for the team, but it gives opportunities for other players to prove themselves. So Tom Lawrence is out for 4 to 6 weeks, actually, with an injury, which is going to be no great loss. The worrying thing in this statement from Clermont is the fact that he says that Tom Lawrence has been important for the team. Well, that's concerning, because to me, Tom Lawrence has been average at best. And if Clermont genuinely does believe that Lawrence has been important, then again, that's a real worry about Clermont and his ability to spot a footballer. That is a big, big concern. Look, tonight, this afternoon, this evening, it's night out in Greece, evening here. It's going to be tough. It's going to be full on. It's going to be a battle. Do I think we can win? Possibly. Do I think it's going to be a draw? More likely. I'm going to go for 2-2 as a result today, which I take a point in Piraeus. I think is a very good point, a strong point. So I'm going to go for 2-2. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Guys, let me know your team predictions as well. I'd love to hear what your team predictions are. Well, thank you for watching our Matchday News, guys. Thank you ever so much for joining me here on the channel. Please keep helping the channel out. Obviously working towards, hopefully, I mean, at the moment, it's looking very, very unlikely about going full time on this, because, just channel's not making enough money. Please, obviously, smash the like, smash the sub, do a lot of good stuff for me. And remember always, we are the